Hello, how are you guys doing? Today's video is going to be a little bit different. This is a little story about how I got my heart broken and then turned it into something positive. So the reason that I'm telling you this story is one, maybe it will help someone, I don't know, maybe. And two, it's just so you can get to know me better and kind of know more of my backstory before I started YouTube. It also kind of relates to the reason why I ever started YouTube. And it involves travel, so I mean it really all fits in. This breakup is something that kind of started a chain of events. There's a lot of things I don't think I ever would have done if I was still in that relationship. So the story begins, young, innocent, 19-year-old Mari. Hanging out with some friends in Vancouver, Canada on New Year's Day. Then this fellow approached her and the rest is history. No. Anyway, so I was going to school at the University of Washington in Seattle, and yep, I met this guy. He happened to also live in Seattle, so we were like, oh great. He was a few years older, so he was already graduated from university. Ever since we met, his plans were to move to LA eventually. And so while I was still going to school, he did that, and then we did long distance for a while. And then when I graduated, I moved down there to be with him. So we were together for 8 years total, which is like kind of a long time. I was aged 19 to 27, which is like a pretty good chunk of life up till then. Ever since the beginning, we talked about like getting married and having kids, and that was always kind of the plan, was like, we're gonna stay together. Things were going, well, I thought they were going really well. Things seemed good. Then, so yeah, about 8 years into our relationship, it was 2 days before Christmas. I was home visiting my family in San Francisco. My plans were to go back to LA for actual Christmas to be with the boyfriend. So I was with my family having like an early Christmas dinner kind of thing, and you know, spending quality time with them, wasn't checking my phone or anything. Finally checked my phone after dinner, and I had 2 text messages from him and 1 voicemail. Checked the text first. The first one was at like 2:30 p.m. He was like, driving home from work, love you babe. I was like, okay, normal. The next one was at like 5:30 p.m. a few hours later, and it was like, so sorry, I just left you that message. And I was like, what? Like, I wonder what he's talking about. Like, maybe something happened to my car, or like, I don't know. Yeah, so I listened to the message, and the message was like, yep, I thought a lot about it, and I want to break up. It was like, that was the message. So yeah, he broke up with me via voicemail right before Christmas. Cool. It's really cool. I didn't see it coming at all. I'm someone that I don't even really like talking on the phone. Like, I think even if he had done it over the phone to me while I was listening, that would have been bad alone. I didn't even want to tell my family at first because I was just kind of embarrassed, and like it was just so hard to like digest. Like, I couldn't even understand. I just could not, like, I was so not expecting that at all. Anyway, I went back to LA, talked with him about it. He had just completely made his mind up. There are some things that he lied about for sure. It was just really, really, really tough. The first bright side thing though, before the relationship, I was a pretty independent person. I did things on my own. I was really happy to do things on my own, explore on my own, go places alone. And then during the course of the relationship, I got very dependent on him, and I kind of lost my sense of self. And that's something I kind of realized later. But so like the very first day after we broke up, it was Christmas Day. Him and I had planned on going to see a movie together, but obviously that wasn't gonna happen. So I was like, hey, I'm just gonna go alone. Never had gone to see a movie alone ever in my life. So Christmas Day, I was an emotional wreck, but I went to see a movie alone, and it was amazing. Even though I was still completely heartbroken at the time, I did have this kind of feeling of like, oh wow, I can do stuff on my own now, and it's actually kind of nice, even though I was really sad. I felt so low. I've never felt so low that I can't eat. Because I love eating. But like, man, I could not eat for weeks. But I realized though that like once you get to that lowest low, like it's only uphill from there. After that breakup, I felt like I could do anything because I wasn't afraid anymore. Then I was talking to a friend. My friend Natalie, who's been in my videos. Natalie is my good friend. We've been friends for 10 years now. I was talking to her, I hadn't seen her for a little bit, and I was telling her about the breakup and stuff, and she was like, well, I'm gonna be going to Thailand in a few weeks, so if you want somewhere to stay while I'm gone, you can stay at my place. And I was like, what? I was like, that's a nice offer of letting me stay in your place. However, I would really much rather go to Thailand with you. And she was like, oh my god, yeah, come. The other part of the story was, yes, so the whole time I was in the relationship with this guy, I always wanted to travel, and I wanted to do like the classic backpacking through Europe or something like that. I was like so eager. My boyfriend had already done that since he was older. He wasn't as interested. And at the time, because I was just so like naive and like, I don't know, I was just so dependent on him, I didn't want to go without him. Like I wanted to go with him and I couldn't see any other way. And actually, I even remember my dad telling me at a certain point, like, why don't you just go by yourself? And I was like, what? No, that's crazy. I'll never do that. So that was the young Mari. I think the culture has changed now, which is awesome. I'm so happy that more people know they can do it on their own. And that's why I'm such an advocate for it, because I didn't do it for so many years. But yeah, so I didn't want to solo travel. He never wanted to travel, or he always said like, okay, next year, next year, next year. We never had enough money to really do it as well. But then this awesome thing happened to us where Santa Monica has the best rent control policies. We were living in a condo and the guy decided to sell the condo, so we were forced to move. And because we were forced to leave, we were entitled to like a payout for like our inconvenience. Yeah, it ended up being $12,000, which to two people who were always broke, $12,000 was like winning the lottery. It was so much money. So I was like, hey, we finally have the money. Like there's no excuses now. We're gonna go to Europe. One of the things I always wanted to do was go to Oktoberfest in Munich. And I had heard that the accommodations book up really early. So it was like a year before and I was like, I'm just gonna book it. And I did. Anyway, so the breakup happened like 2 months after that. And actually, like, one of the first things I thought about was like, no, what about our Europe trip? So then when my friends had just going to Thailand, I was like, yes, I'm gonna go. I have $6,000 in the bank, ready. So at this point, I was 27, hadn't done that much travel except for like family trips and things like that. Yeah, this was like my first time backpacking around and I was just so excited. I was still really heartbroken up to this point, but I remember as soon as I got to the airport, into the international terminal, and I saw all these people and all these people from all different countries all kind of doing their thing, and I was just like, oh wow, there's a whole world out here. I just immediately felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I was finally doing something that I had always wanted to do. So my friends and I traveled around Thailand for 3 weeks. That was just kind of like a life-changing trip. It was just so amazing and just opened my eyes to so many different things and just meeting so many different people from around the world and experiencing so many new things and just realizing that there's so much to the world and so much outside of that little bubble that I lived in LA. Once I was out and traveling and away from the situation, I had time to reflect on the relationship. I just realized that along the way there had been so many red flags and things that I just kind of didn't focus on. I just kind of brushed off. But once I actually had time away and I had time to think, I realized that I was so much better off not being in that relationship. Travel, it saved me. And I think some people say don't travel to escape if you go through a hard time, because some people do use travel as an escape. But I think there's a difference between like an escape and like a diversion versus like something that you've always wanted to do and something that's like going to help you grow. And for me, that's what that travel experience was at the time. It was something that I'd wanted to do for so long, and it helped me grow and it helped me just see things that I couldn't see before. And then, yeah, so on that trip, I'm someone that always likes to learn things on YouTube. So my friends and I wanted to know some Thai. So we looked on YouTube, and then the videos I found, either they weren't very good or they were like, how to get a Thai girlfriend. And like, they're just kind of like, ew. So that's kind of how the YouTube channel ideas began. Anyway, I got back from the trip feeling great. The other thing that I had always wanted to do ever since I was 16 and I first visited New York with my family, I knew I wanted to live there someday. And with the boyfriend, I always talked about like, yeah, let's move to New York. And he was like, nah, maybe one day, but like, he just really didn't want to. I just knew like the first thing I was gonna do was gonna be move to New York. And honestly, that was hands down the best decision I've ever made in my life. New York is an amazing place where you really feel like you can do anything. Anyway, moral of the story. One, if you're having a really hard time, you go through a hard breakup, just know there's so many good things ahead of you, and finally go do the things that you always want to do. Two, don't let someone take away your independence. Make sure you still do things that you want to do. If you're in a relationship, don't wait to solo travel. If you want to travel and your partner doesn't want to travel, go traveling anyway. That's one thing I wish that I had done. I feel like I kind of like lost all my 20s. Just because I was too afraid to do something on my own. And that's crazy. So don't wait and just go out there and live your dreams and do what you want to do. Thanks for listening to this random story time. All right, subscribe for more videos. Usually they're travel stuff. All right, bye.